Dems presidential field takes spotlight in South Carolina. Video by CBS News. Columbia, SCU. Almost the entire, sprawling Democratic presidential field of more than 20 candidates took the same stage Friday in the South's first primary state, looking to make connections in a primary battleground that has helped propel the party's last two nominees. Former Vice President Joe Biden reintroduced himself to South Carolina voters at gatherings he's attended many times before. His rivals tried. The 76-year-old Biden touted his friendship with Clyburn and other South Carolina politicians, including former senior Fritz Hollings, Massachusetts senior Elizabeth Warren. The fish fry is a highlight of a big political weekend in South Carolina. Candidates, all four South Carolina Democrats, it's the culmination of several decades of work raising the state's profile to compete with the attention afforded to Iowa and New Hampshire, the two states that for decades have led off presidential voting. The itinerary gives candidates a key opportunity to court the black voters who are crucial in South Carolina politics, while also reaching a sometimes underappreciated bloc of moderate whites. The electorate. Biden leads most national and early nominating state polls, with notable strength among South Carolina's older black voters and moderate whites that dominate the Democratic primary here. But locals point to people. Neither Warren nor Harris, two of Biden's top rivals, mentioned the front-runner, but both drew a contrast in style. Most candidates Friday stuck to praising Clyburn, the highest-ranking black member of Congress, and promised to focus on marginalized Americans and the middle class. New York Mayor Bill de Blasio touted a Minnesota senior Amy Klobuchar. The evening also carried a jovial air. Clyburn introduced Cory Booker as they. Some of the lagging candidates encountered the realities of such a large field. When Colorado's Clyburn himself got some details wrong as MC, mispronouncing names and saying John Hickenlooper, the former governor of Colorado, is from California. Introducing Harris, the scenes were a triumph for longtime South Carolina Democratic players. Standing nearby, Fowler called it they. She and her husband, former Democratic National Committee Chairman Don Fowler, were political celebrities in their own right Friday, with well-wishers thanking the couple for helping to secure South Carolina's place as an early nominating state. Clyburn, meanwhile, is enjoying a bump in his already considerable influence. He's the third ranked. On Friday, thousands filled a downtown Columbia Plaza. It's
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park, pot.